What's up gamers, Cryptico here, and welcome back to Lowering the Mark, a show where I analyze the current and former world records of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe time trial runs to see how these records get faster over time. We'll look at elements such as the loadout, racing lines, and mushroom usage to better understand what's bringing these times down. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the notification bell to be the first to know when my videos go live. For today's episode, we're sticking with the DLC courses and taking a look at probably the coolest one in the game, Neo Bowser City at 200cc. On April 28, 2017, the world record for this run was set at 1 minute 23.782 seconds by the French player Dragnir, and just a few months ago on October 7, 2020, the world record was brought down to 1 minute 19.382 seconds by the Spanish player Alberto. That's a 4.4 second improvement between records and a 5.2% faster time. Not bad for a 200cc run. Our former world record holder Dragnir has a pretty impressive history in this game. He's broken 23 world records across 5 unique runs and has spent over 700 days holding at least one world record. He's also had a few records stand for over 100 days, so that's pretty impressive too. Our current world record holder Alberto has broken something like 330 world records across 45 unique runs and has spent almost 1,000 days holding at least one world record. As of this recording, he holds 29 current world records, but by the time this gets uploaded, that could change since Alberto is very good at video games. We're not going to talk about the pre-release record. For the first few weeks after the game's release, a small group of players took the record all the way down to a low 122. Soon after that, Australian player FLC went on a rampage and set 21 additional world records, hitting 2 second breaks along the way and putting up his 120.7 that would hold for over 230 days. American legend Jimmy would spoil FLC's reign, but his own wouldn't last that long as 3 Japanese players took over and brought the record down closer to sub 120. Someone would get there first, and after Stir came in and did slightly better, Someone went unconscious and broke the record 11 more times while shaving off over 0.3 of a second. For a world record that already looked perfect, 0.3 of a second is a lot to knock off like that. His final world record would last a whopping 670 days before Norwegian player Pi and Alberto came in and put up faster times. In total, the world record was broken 61 times by 14 different players. The loadouts here are cut from the same cloth and have the same founding components, but one does it a little better than the other. Dragnir goes with a combo of Bowser Jr. driving the Streetle Kart with the roller wheels and the Super Glider, while Alberto goes with his favorite baby loadout of Baby Peach driving the Bitty Buggy Kart with the Azier roller wheels and the Paper Glider. Right off the bat, you can tell that these loadouts display a similar theme: low speed and high handling. The small characters and roller wheels definitely help both players get their high acceleration and mini turbo stats. The reason Alberto's stats are higher is because of the collective boosts the Bitty Buggy and the Paper Glider give to those key stats. That's not to say Dragnir didn't pick a good loadout, because even with an acceleration and mini turbo rating of 5 points, you could put up a pretty impressive time. Alberto just took it a step further and got near max stats and was able to pull off an even faster time. Now this course is fun. For real, nobody yells at you if you pick this course. It's crazy, there's a lot of turns, and it's raining. It's the perfect balance of chaos and even more chaos, especially at 200cc. Dragnir hits a rocket start and immediately hops into a tight drift which yields a super mini turbo, before falling off this ramp and hitting another super mini turbo while picking up the first 4 coins. Alberto does the same thing, except when he hits the ramp, he's positioned all the way to the left, which allows him to take a better line off of it and through that third turn and get an ultra mini turbo instead of a super one. Pretty basic stuff through the first section, with Alberto showing some more knowledge of the better lines on this course as he leads Dragnir by just over half of a second at the end of S1. Now S2 is pretty similar for both racers. They both hit these 2 quick super mini turbos before this straight-ish part and then charge up another mini turbo around the last turn of S2, where Alberto gets a super one as opposed to Dragnir's normal one. Even though that looked the same, it was Alberto's positioning at the beginning there that set him apart from Dragnir. More on that later. Right now, Alberto leads by over 0.6 of a second going into S3. Dragnir needs to rely heavily on brake drifting as he picks up the next few coins and a pair of mini turbos on the wettest part of the track. After that mess, he'll angle himself just right to hit this shortcut on the last turn and then fly off the glider ramp across the finish line to close out the lap. Alberto starts off the same way by collecting those coins, but once he hits the second turn, he doesn't hold on for the Ultra Mini Turbo. He instead opts to get a Super Mini Turbo and then grab 2 quick normal Mini Turbos to keep his speed up. After that, he'll take the same shortcut as Dragnir, but instead of tricking off the glider ramp, he releases his Mini Turbo and hops over the glider. This looks like a variant of Fast Glider, but I'm not 100% on that. What I am sure of is Alberto has jumped out to a decent lead after lap 1 where he is ahead by nearly 1.3 seconds. Let's put both racers side by side and highlight just how much better Alberto's lines are. You can see they enter the ramp at around the same spot, but when they land, it becomes obvious how much of a time save Alberto's line is when compared to Dragnir. While Bowser Jr. is on the other side of the planet, Baby Peach remains as close to the wall as she can, which sets her up for the max Ultra Mini Turbo to come barreling down the rest of S1, where the lead has stretched to over 1.7 seconds going into S2. S2 is pretty much the same again for both racers, with the only major difference being the speed carried by Alberto. Even with a lower top speed stat, the max mini turbos are putting miles between him and Dragnir. Even though they took similar lines and had the same mini turbo arrangement, Alberto was able to add an additional 0.2 of a second to his lead off the speed alone and remains ahead by 2 seconds at the end of S2. We're going to play these two runs side by side again to show you why Alberto's Super Mini Turbo is actually better than Dragnir's Ultra one. So after this first turn, both players start charging up their Mini Turbos. Alberto releases his and then Dragnir does the same. But look at where each one of them are at. Here's one player almost hanging over the edge and the other much closer to the inside of the turn. Not to leave you on a cliffhanger, but Alberto spoke about why this is faster, so I'll leave that to him in the Q&A section of the video. But at first glance, it simply looks like a tighter turn by Alberto, which put him in a better position to grab those two quick mini turbos before both players take the same shortcut and fly down to the finish line to close out the lap, where Alberto remains ahead by 2.8 seconds going into the final lap. Now there's not much else for me to say about this run that I haven't already talked about. On the final lap, it's basically just more of the same for both racers. Dragnir takes an oddly wide line, but also finds a way to keep his speed up, while Alberto takes an even better line and races like it was 400cc. It's pretty impressive to watch both players navigate this crazy course while going super fast. Between the short turns and the rain all over the course, this is not an easy run to do fast. That should speak to how good of a player Alberto is as he flies into the finish line, posting a time that is 4.4 seconds faster than Dragnir's former world record. So by taking better lines, carrying more speed, and implementing a fairly new strat for the extra time save, Alberto was able to bring the world record down from what was regarded as an insurmountable time by over 0.2 of a second. Let's hear some words from the man who made it happen. How difficult was this run compared to other courses you have world record in?
Of all the courses I've gotten world record in, I definitely consider this course one of the more difficult ones because it's really easy to lose control if you aren't completely focused.
Why is doing a Super Mini Turbo on the final part of the S turn faster than hitting an Ultra Mini Turbo?
You're drifting for a long period of time around the turn for the Ultra Mini Turbo, but for the Super Mini Turbo, you just release the first one right away and take the turn with that boost while also chaining a Mini Turbo to keep your speed up. It was a nice find by Pi and the reason I was able to get this world record.
Is the sum of the best known splits a maxed world record, or do you think there are still a few frames that can be knocked off?
Nothing is ever maxed out, and especially on a track like this, the best splits can be improved and they might even give a 118 without any real strat changes at some point.
Thank you for your time, Alberto. Congrats on getting this world record. Now, as perfect as that run may have looked, the best known splits show us that there is still a lot of time that can be knocked off. Pi and Alberto each have a part of the best known sum time, and it sure is fast. When Soman hit his 1:19.5, nobody ever thought that a 0.1 would be possible, and now here we are just a few frames away. Laps 1 and 2 each have about 11 to 13 frames that can be knocked off between them, which amounts to nearly 0.2 of a second, and lap 3 is pretty optimized with a little room for improvement. Pi and Alberto don't really have a dueling history on this course, but since both of them have the talent, there isn't a reason why we wouldn't see a 0.2 come across the board in the near future. The worldwide top 10 consists of 8 national and 4 continental record holders. Alberto sits comfortably at the top with his 0.3, Norwegian record holder Pi sits at the number 2 spot, and the French record holder Army is just chilling in 3rd. Only 4 1,000ths of a second behind him is the Asian record holder Soman, and the North American record holder Eternal X rounds out the top 5. 6th and 7th place go to American record holder Jimmy and Japanese player Amond with a little over 1/10 of a second between them. 8th through 10th place belong to Yoshi, Panda, and Stir, all separated by just 1/100th of a second. It's without a doubt a pretty stacked leaderboard, but Alberto and Pi are in a class of their own since they aren't only fast at the course, they know the mechanics better than anyone else, so the record could go either way, but it will take some time and maybe a little extra motivation from the rest of the field. That's all for episode 32. I know this course was highly requested and it feels good to finally put this one out. I hope I did a good job. If you enjoyed this video, like and share it with your friends and comment on which course you want me to analyze next. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you guys in the next one.